Welcome, Mr. Power Talk. I'm your host, OG Chris Murray, man. We breaking down the top six playoff teams on who has the shot at achieving greatness this postseason. But I can't be doing this alone, man. I got an all-star cast with me. First up, I got my man Jay, the owner of the Seattle Seahawks, joining me. What's going on, Jay?
Glad to be here. Let's get it.
Next up, man, I got the one, man, the OG, who's it's always good to do a show with him, man. We got Expert, the owner of those Jacksonville Jaguars. What's going on, Expert?
Man, what's going on? Glad to be here.
Next up, we got Mr. Melt the Mic Down himself, T-Pain. What's going on?
What's going on, fellas? Glad to be here as well.
Man, now, I'm happy he jumped on. You know, he had a lot of things going on, but he was able to cut it into his schedule. We got no one but himself, Mr. Freddie Jackson, the owner of those New England Patriots. What's going on, Freddie?
What's going on, man? Glad to be here.
All right, man. Listen, we're not going to hold the people up. We're going to pretty much be breaking down the top six teams in the playoffs on who we think have the best shot at achieving greatness this season. We have two people on the show that we co-hosting that was in the postseason, and I wanted y'all input on this postseason, you know, because both of y'all got eliminated, but y'all had, you know, y'all played against some tough dudes. So I'm going to come to you first, Expert, man. You know, you had a tough battle, wild card round versus tight work, and those Miami Dolphins. Walk me through that game and that process, man. It was a good game.
Yeah, I mean, you know, anytime you play a Super Bowl champion like tight work, you know, you got to bring your A game, and Dak Prescott just couldn't get it going. You know, had an MVP caliber season. Actually won MVP for the dynasty this year. But if you can't produce those numbers in the playoffs, and you play a guy like tight work who plays very sound defense, understands this game very, very well, you know, you're going to find yourself on the wrong end. And we just didn't get enough plays in the right spots. And tight work played well. And good to see him playing well. And you know what? It's crazy because he was in the wild card. You know, he was down there in the bottom. But, you know, when you see a guy like tight work, you got to understand this. You know, regular season is one thing, and postseason, everybody steps their game up. But should be a good rest of the postseason because we're gonna have a new champ this year, OG.
Definitely. Now, Jay, I'm gonna come over to you, Jay. You won your division this year. You know, tip my head off to you. You get a tough opponent and Matty Ice on Philadelphia Eagles. You know, round one. What was it like? You know, breaking through that barrier, making that first run to the banner in the dynasty.
Yeah, this is my second trip to the playoffs. I went through the bus in the wild card round and had an opportunity to go one more step further, but ran into those Philadelphia Eagles, and he just made more plays than me. It was one of the funnest games. I appreciate all the people that commented and all the people that tuned in. It was awesome, but at the end of the day, I had a chance to win it, and I just did not capitalize. And he made more plays than me. It was awesome, though. I had a really good time playing this year, and I was happy to win my first division title. That felt good, and we're going to keep trying to build this team.
Man, definitely. That team, man, how you are drafting and developing them guys over there, it's going to be a very exciting cycle for the remainder of this season for those Seahawks. I'm looking forward to see what they're going to do. But let's dive into this list, man. Coming in at the number 6 slot, we have Andy Forrest in those LA Chargers, all right? Now, Andy Forrest was able to finish off the season 11-5. Through that 11-5 run, he was ranked 4th in points scored, averaging 31 points per game. First in yards per game, putting up a whopping 406 yards. And on the defense side of the ball, he was ranked 6th in points allowed, only allowing 16 points per game, and ranked 2nd in yards allowed, only giving up a total of 247 yards. Now, Mr. Freddie Jackson, I'm coming to you on this one because you got a chance to play against this guy in the playoffs. What type of user and what type of game plan do you have to bring to the table when you're facing Andy Forrest and these LA Chargers?
Well, you have to have good peripheral vision from the quarterback standpoint. He runs the field. You know, he got Derwin James. Oh, man, he's a beast. And he brings good pressure. You know, you need a great offensive line. I mean, you have to. And then watch out for Bass. I think we did a good job on the deep ball. But when you use them differently, you know, he can go all over the field. So just be aware. You know, you have to up your user skills. I had to use my linebacker a few times to make some plays. But number one, you know, to me, I think he's the best player on this side. He gives me the most fear. So I knew I had to come prepared without luck.
Wait. I don't mean to cut you off, but you said he's the what? You say he's
on the AFC side, he gives me the most fear.
Dang. Oh, be on no AFC, man.
He ain't played the Jags in a while. You better stop all that nonsense, folks. You better stop all that.
Okay.
You do know we got banner winners on this side. Oh, you know what? I forgot it's Freddie Jackson. Continue, sir. Continue, R. Kelly. I appreciate you.
So you just gonna eliminate all this talent? You know, you had KT who had a 16-0 season. You got Expert who, in my opinion, you know, when he got his banner, he went through the best of the best, eliminating hot to tight work. Then the list goes on. What did you play SD that year too?
King Vitamin.
King
Vitamin was the other one. Yeah.
He just went through the best. Like that road to a banner was the most difficult I've seen in the DML to date so far. But dang, Mr. Freddie Jackson, that was a bold statement right there, man.
Yeah, that was.
That was a bold
bullseye on the Patriots.
Let me explain that a little bit. Now, when you look at his team, we're not just talking about users. We're talking about personnel. I told somebody that, you know, Ross is the most dangerous guy on his team too, but I'm talking about personnel. Derwin James, Bass, Eckler, the quarterback he has, I think he has a team that he can call any play at any given time. Got you. Okay, that's what I mean. Now, Expert as a user is a little higher, but if you put the team and the user together, I got to go with AK Force right now. Because even Tight Work still know his team needs to improve too. So when you look at his team, you're like, okay, let me take this away, take that away. And, you know, a lot of guys don't have the personnel that the Chargers have right now.
Okay, well, I like how you broke that down, so I can shed light on what you're saying, but still, no, man, I can't agree with you on that.
That's a lot.
But you know, I'm gonna come to you on this one, Expert. What's your thoughts on Andy Forrest coming in at the number 6 slot?
I mean, here's the thing about Andy Forrest. When you add a guy like Rashawn Bass, who can go get you 2,000 yards as a wide receiver, catch you 19 touchdowns. You know, he did have a little drop issue this year with almost double-digit drops. But anytime you give a quarterback back like Barrett that kind of weapon, and then you also give him Austin Eckler in the backfield. And I know Eckler's had some injury issues, but when this team is healthy, I actually agree with Freddie Jackson. They are a very dangerous team personnel-wise. I will say this, and I'm sure if we ask Andy Forrest, the one thing he'd say he needs to fix is he's got to stop turning this ball over. Anytime your quarterback throws more interceptions than touchdowns, that can be an issue for you, especially as you get deeper into the season and then into the playoffs, because you're going to play the top echelon guys, and you cannot afford to turn the ball over. And Jarrett Barrett had an issue this year with turning over with 48 interceptions to 44 touchdowns. And so I think if Andy Forrest could fix one thing, it'd be the turnover bug for him. But, other than that, there's not many holes on this football team. This defense knows how to get after the quarterback, and they put pressure that creates turnovers for him. I think Derwin James had double-digit picks. Will Solomon had double-digit picks. They had several guys with 9 sacks, 10 sacks, 15 sacks. I mean, this defense plays very, very well. If he cuts down the turnovers, we might see Andy Forrest contend for another banner, especially after he hung the first one here for the season.
Yeah, well, I might agree with, everything y'all said. I think it's a good slot for him coming in. But moving on to the number 5 slot, we had my division mate, Bruce, and those Baltimore Ravens, man. The Baltimore Ravens, I'm just going to chime in on number of fans. This is a team right here, man, that knows how to create turnovers, And if you come out and you ain't got your right thinking cap on, he is going to light you up on the defensive side of the ball. But Daddy Lee has him ranked 9th in total points scored, averaging a total of 26 per game. Now, he's ranked 22nd in yards per game on the offensive side of the ball, only putting up 274. But clearly that is affecting him because, he made the Road to Greatness list, and also he had that first-round bye in the UFC. But on the defensive side of the ball, this is the most interesting thing about this Baltimore Ravens team that just makes the hairs on my arm stand up. He's ranked 30 points allowed, only allowing 15 points per game. Ranked 3rd in total yards, per game allowed, only giving up 261. Now, I play against this guy, he's my division leader. And every time I play against this dude, it's like you got to come out with a new game plan, because if you come out with the same game style and expect to pull out a W against this man, it's not going to happen. And Alex Collins, I don't know what he's seeing him. I don't know, how much time he's spending in the lab with this guy, but he seems to just know how to make this guy break tackles and to create crazy plays on the offensive side of the ball. But I'm going to come to you, Jay. After watching this Baltimore Ravens team play from week 1 up to where they at right now, what's your thoughts on this squad, and how far do you think that Alex Collins can take these Baltimore Ravens in the postseason?
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely, you've kind of hit all the points on him. His defense is stellar. Even just when that defensive tackle, Fleming Klein, when your defensive tackle leads your team in sacks, I mean, that just means the entire middle is dominated. That sends so much pressure right in the quarterback's face. I think he can actually go to the Super Bowl. I mean, it's going to be a tough pick. He isn't really my Super Bowl pick, and I know he's going to dog me. He already dogged me for going against him when he played you in Week 17. He isn't my Super Bowl pick this year, but I mean, it's going to be close. I love this defense. He's still got some holes, I think, on that offense, but as far as Alex Collins, that guy is a freak. Hard to tackle. I'd put him in the top 5 of, like, one of the hardest people to tackle in the DML. It's definitely always a pleasure when I get to play him or even just watch some of his games.
All right, Mr. Melt the Mic, T-Pain, caution, please. Somebody get T-Pain an extra mic and sit it next to him. I'm coming to you right now. All right. Heading into the postseason, man, he had the first round bye. Do you think, this is off your input, would you rather have a blazing hot defense in the postseason? Would you rather have that blazing hot offense that could just come out and put a lick of points up on whoever they play? Give me your thoughts on that.
The truth, man, I'd rather have the blazing hot defense, man, because defense wins championships in most sports, man. Okay. So, looking at, do you think that Bruce and the Baltimore Ravens has something to worry about as far as, even though they putting up, 26 points per game, right? When they're going up against guys that's left in the postseason, like you have KT, who has that, lights out offense out there in Kansas City Chiefs, do we have to figure out somehow, some way how to go, play with KP, or can he just stick to his game plan and just continue to ground and pound that rock with Alex Collins? The truth, man, I think he should just stick to his game plan, man. What's been getting them wins and what got him to where he is right now. Because, you change up something too late in the playoffs, that might not end up good.
Yeah, I agree with you on that, man. So, tip my head off to Alex Collins, man. He's, like Jay just said, man, one of the most dominant running backs in the DMR right now. But moving on, coming in at the number 4 slot, we had Matty Ice in the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, Matty Ice and these Philadelphia Eagles finished the season 12-3. The offense seems to keep clicking out there in Philadelphia. Matty Ice, is doing what he's doing. Now, Dadley has him ranked right now 7th in points, putting up 24 points per game. 12th in total yards per game, putting up 302 yards. On the defensive side of the ball, he's ranked 4th in points allowed, only allowing 15 points per game, and ranked 1st in yards allowed, only giving up a total of 242 yards. Now, you already know the people wanted me to come to you, Jack. What's your thoughts on Matty Ice coming in at the number 4 slot at the chance of achieving greatness in this postseason?
Ranked way too high. That's hands down. He's at least 7, maybe even 8. He gets to walk through that division every year. He gets a division title every year, which already kind of puts him in. And I'm not going to give away, he does earn a first-round bye, so I'll give him that. So at least he does that. And he's still cashing in on somehow being able to trade for the number 1 pick in the draft and the number 2 pick in the draft, and they're still dominating. Joey Russell and Painter. Still cashing in on that. I think he's had a lot of things go his way this cycle. Look for him to be cashed out next round anyways. I think he's ranked too high. He's a great competitor. He beat me. He's beat me every time. I've played him 3 times. He's beat me 3 times. But compared to some of these other players, he's a little too high on my wrist. I would put Bruce over him and the Chargers way over him.
Wow.
Whoa.
Wow.
T-Pain, we might not get my mic. So I'm going to come to you. I'm going to come to you this one, expert, man.
Somebody sounds salty, man. Somebody sounds salty. Here's my thing. Like, if you've never beat a man, how can you say that he should be lower on this list? I mean, we not
talking.
Not to me. We're not talking about a guy that it just so happens he made this list. This is a user that has been talented since the day he stepped into the dynasty. Now, and it may be because, you know, this is kind of my brother here, so I got to stick up for him a little bit. But I know the division is weak, except for Puglisi. And Puglisi had a down year this year. And underrated is not a walk in the park. You got to bring your A game when you play underrated, because he'll catch you in a heartbeat. But he's beat the 49ers. He beat the Cardinals before anybody had any idea how good the Cardinals were going to be. Now that AJ's taking them over. The old Cardinals usual, when Rich had him, he beat him. I mean, this is a guy that has played with the best. And Matty Ice is a play or two away from making a Super Bowl in several seasons. And I'm not talking this cycle. I'm talking previous cycles as well. I mean, he's battled since he's been in the dynasty. To me, with Matty Ice's pedigree where he's been at, we got to put him higher on the list. To me, he's a top 3 guy.
This is the thing. I want to comment real fast. This is the thing right here. Why I think Matty fell to number 4 spot. Don't get me wrong. You know, Matty Ice is a top tier user. But when it comes to as far as the division and the competition in the division, you know, it's even though we want to sit there and put those guys in the division a little bit higher than what they are, the proof is in the pudding, man. Like, this dude every single year, except for last season, which, you know, some guys think Matty Ice pulled out the paint. But every single year, that division crown is coming through Philadelphia, flat out. No, I don't care, you know, if we seen talent-wise, let's talk facts. Talent-wise, on paper, before that division, you know, started making all those crazy trades, that was the most talented division. You had HBO with the Dallas Cowboys, you had Joseph Myers, Rashard Bass, Ezekiel Elliott. Then you had the Washington Redskins, who had the no-fly zone out there with their secondary. Then you got the Giants with Saquon Barkley, Odell Beckham. What's the animation blitz wide receiver guy out there? Ballman. So on paper, that division is by far the best division in the DML. But when Matty Ice, who joined this division back and we had our team draft, he was grinning from ear to ear. So I think that he's definitely getting a walk in the park. And in my opinion, that walk in the park sometimes is coming back and biting Matty in his behind, because sometimes when you're not facing consistent competition in the DML, when you run up against that competition in the postseason, it tends to show in your game. Now, like you said, Expert, I totally agree with you on that. Matty Ice was a player 2 away from hanging multiple banners in the DML. Again, at that time, the best person in the DML. You see what I'm saying? But I just can't downgrade the people that's in this division. Still, Westside Pablo, HBO, the underrated Shobi, that they can knock him off. I just think that, you know, it comes.
But we can't fault Matty Ice for the guys on the schedule.
Oh no,
you can't. You can't.
Shows up. So it's not like Matty Ice is in the commissioner's office saying, okay, I want to play these 3 guys twice a year. They chose because Matty Ice picked first in the draft. These 3 guys followed Matty Ice to the NFC East. That is not his fault that those other 3 guys are bums in the NFC East. It used to be the NFC Beast, and now it's the NFC Least. And that's not Matty Ice's fault. He's supposed to win those 6 games, win the division. I will say this. Matty Ice has to put it all together, and he has to find a way to win 2 more games and get himself a banner here in the Dynasty and finalize his greatness here in the DML. Because I understand that, you know, a lot of guys are going to say, well, he chokes every single time. Listen, it's not easy getting to this spot. To get to a championship game is not easy. Ask Addy 5. It's not easy. He has won 3 straight championships. He has not seen an NFC champion. He's not seen a Super Bowl since those 3 banners. It's not easy. It's not like you just put your guys on the field and all of a sudden, because you've been winning, you automatically win. That's not how it works. So you have to play the guy that gets put in front of you. And Matty Ice does that every single week. To me, he's a top 3 user on this list, period. He's in the NFC Championship game. He beat the Seahawks in the regular season convincingly. He beat the 49ers already in the regular season. He beat the Cardinals. he has beaten the guys that have been put in front of him. Yes. Is he undefeated in the division? Sure. HBO is garbage when it comes to sticks. Pablo, horrible year. Underrated, horrible year. But that's not Matty Ice's fault. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I understand guys are going to say that. And listen, Matty Ice, you got to show out for me now. I done put my flag down and said Philly to the championship. But we got to put him higher on the list. To me, he's higher on the list. But that's just my opinion.
I'm gonna come to you, Mr. Freddie Jackson, because you made a bold statement. So I'm gonna let you try to redeem yourself with this pick right here. Do you think Matty should be ranked higher, or you think Matty's fine where he's at?
I think he's fine where he's at in terms of the name on the list, because those are the guys who can give him trouble, like Addy.
Okay.
So, and I agree with Expert. Because I actually hit him on the DM. I said, I got you going to the bowl. I think this is your year. This is your year. And then we just started talking about who could go. I said, you know what? Don't be surprised Expert go. Don't be surprised AK Force. So we always debate, and that team is lit. When I looked at Josh Rosen, that's the key. I mean, Josh Rosen numbers alone can take you to the Super Bowl. The guy is just phenomenal, and he doesn't have, the best receivers. I got him in the top 3 as far as play calling. It's not the top 2. This guy's a heck of a play caller.
Are you kidding me?
On offense, this guy can call some plays.
Oh my! All right, I'm hanging up.
Top 3.
This guy goes up and down. Maybe it's the division. He goes up and down the field like no other.
Wait.
80 on HBO.
He top 3. Oh,
yeah,
come on.
Play calling.
Play
so
calling?
Okay. Where do you have him in play calling?
Play calling? Wait, come on, man. You got listen. Mr. Freddie Jackson, you gotta wake up. Pull a bottle away from your mouth. You talking about guys like we got KP, right? How can you just jump the gun? You got KP, you got Addy, you got AK, you got 84, you got Expert, you got hold on, with the list goes on. You got Sweet. My fault, I forgot about Sweet out there. You got who else can I bring up? That's 5 consistent guys right there. I can call plays. Listen, though, hold on, wait. That's 5 guys that I've seen that have proven to me when they're down by 7, they can get down the field in 3 plays. Now, I'm not taking nothing away from Matty. Matty's my guy, and I want Matty to win the banner so bad because he deserves it. He deserves it. I'm telling you, he deserves it because he's a heck of a GM. He's a guy that grinds day and night for the league. He's consistent. I want to see him, win a banner, but come on, Mr. Freddie Jackson, you gotta put some respect on some of these DML users' name, man. 3?
I just want to know, did the Patriots make the playoffs this year?
Yeah, I did.
Let's move on to the next one.
Coming in the number 3 slot, we got Typework in the Miami Dolphins. Now, Typework, had a early, not an early exit, but he was a defending champion. But he had some tough competition. But Daly finished the season 10-6. Was able to fight for that last playoff slot. Daly had him ranked 14th in points per game, only averaging 23. Ranked 28th in yards per game, only putting up a total of 261. On the defense side of the ball, he was ranked 8th in total points allowed, only allowing 18 points per game, and ranked 6th in total yards per game allowed, only allowing 260. Now, I'm going to come to you right from the gun on this one, because we face this guy in the wild card round.
Yes.
And I'm going to continue to preach it on and on until, Typework proves me wrong on being consistent. Typework, you did your thing last year. You won a Super Bowl. But do you think that guys have the formula on how to beat Typework? Stop that run game and force him to pass the ball. Do you think guys have the formula to knocking off the Miami Dolphins?
Yeah, it sounds simple, right? Like, you just have to shut down his run game and you're good to go, right? Because, Gilbert Reeves still isn't that guy that you sit back and go, man, I got to make sure I keep somebody on Gilbert Reeves to make sure he's, he doesn't burn me with the deep ball. Gilbert Reeves is not that guy. He only had 18 touchdowns this year, but stopping the run is a very difficult thing because he hits you with so many different things. He's got a top 2 running backs. He's got a fullback that's going to get him 400 or 500 yards a year. He's got a quarterback that ran for over 300 yards and 7 touchdowns. He's got so many weapons. But the thing about tight work is that his defense creates offense for him. So he waits for you to make a mistake, and he pounces on mistakes that you make on your offense and puts himself in position to get easy points. He's not going to light the scoreboard up. He's not a guy that's going to put up 30-plus points a game. He's not going to throw the ball all over the field. He's not going to have a quarterback that's competing for awards or anything like that. But what he does have is he has a very sound offense, and he expects his defense to play well and hold you to under 20 points. And if he holds you under 20 points, he feels like this run game, this quarterback is going to find a way to win. And he's proven it time and time again. You don't hang multiple banners in the DML if you are one-dimensional. Yes, he can throw the ball when he needs to. But to me, when you have a defense like tight work does and you have a run game like tight work does, those two things match up very well in Madden, especially this year. If you can run the football and you can stop the run and hold people to less than 20 points, you have a great chance of winning, and he proved it. Now, he had a tough matchup in the divisional round. He got an undefeated Chiefs team who, I don't care what KP says, there's no such thing as luck for KP. He is balling right now. And he came out and he found a way to get past Tightwork's defense with those 2 wide receivers that he has, and Patrick Mahomes just playing lights out. And he just caught Tightwork on a bad day. Tightwork's defense played very, very bad. And I know Tightwork wish he could go back because he didn't open up the offense enough for me. Once he went down, he tried to stick with that game plan. And sometimes that's when you got to find a way to open it up. And just like Andy Force got to stop the turnovers is his weakness, he's got to find a way to get that quarterback Reeves to start throwing this ball around. He's got to get into camp somewhere. He's got to find a lab partner, and he's got to get this offense throwing the football. And if Tightwork finds a way to have a quarterback that can throw for 250, 300 a game, this Miami Dolphins team is dangerous, and I would not want to play them.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you on that one, man. Like, just looking off the stats of that game against KP, it just seemed like Tightwork couldn't protect his quarterback. He was sacked 6 times. He had 3 interceptions. So it just seemed like you said, once you go up against a guy like KP, if you figure out how to put points up on you, he's going to put you in a dangerous spot because you're going to have to start getting out of your comfort zone. And sometimes what that causes is you to rush Reeves, which you can see clearly that because Reeves threw 3 interceptions, and it caused you to hold on to that ball a little bit longer, which caused him to get sacked 6 times. So I definitely think that, the game plan is out there. If you can stop the Miami Dolphins run game, force them to throw that ball until I see Tightwork comfortable with coming out and playing a balanced game as far as passing the ball and running the ball. That's the formula right now. And Jay, would you have to agree on that also? Or you think it's not?
He loves hearing this talk because he thinks it's the complete opposite. He loves hearing you guys talk about that's all you got to do to stop the run. He, of course, the stats, that's what he does. He is live and die by some of the runs. And actually, I think there was a lot of games when I watched him play as Expert. Expert was giving him a lot of open room to take off with Reeves, and I think he's getting it in his mindset that he wants to stay back in that court, and try to sling it. I kept telling him, he's giving you opportunities. A lot of these guys are giving him opportunities. I actually think he needs to pull out and run a little bit more with Reeves. He only had 300 yards. I know Reeves is good for at least 600 yards and maybe 10 touchdowns. I agree on somewhat, but I will say he gets fired up about you guys talking about that's all it takes to beat him.
We're going to see, man. Hopefully next year he can make a deeper run in the postseason, man. But he had a good run. Tipped my head off swing. But moving on, coming in the number 2 slot, we have 85 and those New Orleans Saints. Now, 85, man, just faced, a tough 49ers team, which is mind-boggling because he ain't made the list, but it just shows how much talent is in the DML. But Eddie, man, finished off and had an amazing another season, 16-0, undefeated season. He was able to, get his guys to the postseason. He daily had some ranks finishing up first in points, putting up a whopping 35 points per game, and he ranked second in total yards on the offensive side of the ball, putting up a total of 385 yards per game. And on the defensive side of the ball, which is crazy because you don't really get this in the DML, but his defense matches his offense. He ranked first in points allowed, only giving up 12 points per game. Ranked fourth in yards allowed per game, only giving up 251. Now, I'm going to come to you, expert on this one right here. How important is it to get and keep your guys healthy from the beginning of the preseason all the way up into the postseason? How important is it to keep your team healthy and keep everybody intact?
Well, I think we all have people on our rosters who we say, I can't afford to lose this guy. Mm-hmm. I mean, there are certain guys that we look at and say, okay, if I lose so-and-so, I'll be all right. And, Addy 5 has, unfortunately, the past 2 seasons lost 2 big targets. Mm-hmm. And so when you are missing a target in an offense that you've had the entire year, it's difficult to adjust to that, even for a top-tier guy like Addy 5. And when you lose a guy like Von Neely, who's been balling for you from day one, that's difficult to adjust. And then, he lost his quarterback on his defense. Will Clemens has been out with the abdominal tear for several weeks. He missed the divisional game that he took the loss in. And when you have a guy like Will Clemens, who's basically 2 linebackers in one, he can stop the run plus play the pass, probably better than 99% of the linebackers in this league. And I put him on that same level as like a Miles Jack. He's just a guy that is everywhere on the field. Even when you think a guy's open, Will Clemens is there before you know it. And so he's had some key injuries. Now, if this is the backup running back or if this is the backup defensive end, that's one thing. But when you lose 2 starters that are producing on both sides of the football, that's difficult to overcome, even for a top-tier user like Addy 5. And there's nobody in the DML, from T-Pain all the way to the commish, that's going to have, that mentality that I can lose anybody on the roster and I'll be all right. There are guys we look at every single year and say, I've got to make sure this guy stays healthy. And quarterback is definitely one of the positions we talk about. But your middle linebacker and a threat down the field, those are key spots. And he just couldn't overcome those.
Yeah, I got to agree. Now, I'm going to come to you, Mr. Melt the Mic, on this one. All right, you got Von Neely. He went down, but in my opinion, before he went down, he was on a race of taking home the MVP of this season because
he was balling.
He was destroying everybody that he went up against. One game I was watching, he had like 6 receiving touchdowns for like over 250 yards. I was like, what the heck is what defense is coming out there and playing this guy? But how much of an impact did you think? Did you think that this game would have turned out different? Now I think that's away from Sweet 99, but do you think that if Von Neely was in this game, do you think that it would have been a different outcome to this game when he just lost his trip to the 49ers?
Most definitely, man, because that dude there is fast, man. It's like lightning, like in the blink of an eye, he's down the field. You gotta watch him, man. He can like catch screens and take off a 40. He runs past defenders, even if they're at 98 speed. Like, this dude is like a man. It's crazy. I hate playing against him. He's a nightmare, bro. It's like it's not gonna be fun the rest of the cycle.
Yeah, I'm gonna come to you next to listen to the Schemer. Do you think, when a certain guy get knocked off your roster and they get hurt, do you think that some people, get the weight is lifted off their shoulders? They go, whoo, yeah, I ain't gotta worry about that guy. I ain't gotta worry about him this game. This should be a walk in the park. Do you think that some guys, that weight get lifted off their shoulder when they see certain guys get knocked off of certain people's roster due to injuries?
Oh man, that's a sigh of relief because I was gonna put together a show about the deadliest guys around the league, and boy, sometimes look at like if I had to take the ground.
It's gonna make me nervous, man. That list is gonna make me nervous. You've been saying you've been making some bold statements. Now I don't want to see a 72 overall player on the top 5 list of most deadliest players in the DML. Now we don't see nothing like that, right? Okay, all right.
Like John Ross. Like, yeah. Jalen Ramsey. Oh, you ain't got to play against him. Fitzpatrick of the Dolphins. Oh, man. Guys like that go down, you're like, okay, I wish him the best of luck, but at least he's out for this game here. That was take a Tyreek Hill, Derwin James, Eckler. Them guys like that, man, you're like, oh, you hurt for 3 weeks? Okay, cool. I wish you the best of luck, though. I hope you're ready for the playoffs. But for that one game, you're like, yes, that guy's out. I can play any defense I want.
Got you. Right, you heard it from Mr. Freddie Jackson himself, man. But moving on to this number 1 slot, we have, it's no surprise, we got KP and the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, KP managed to finish off undefeated season in the DML, bounce back year for him because he missed the playoffs last year. So he came out with that chip on his shoulder. He finished off ranked 3rd in points per game, putting up 34 points per game, ranked 4th in total yards on the offensive side of the ball, putting up 350 yards per game. And on the defense side of the ball, getting up to these top 3 users on this list. Defensive matching their offense. He ranked 2nd in points allowed, only allowing 13 points per game. Ranked 7th in total yards allowed, only giving up 263 yards. Now, Jay, I'm gonna come to you first on this one right here. Can we all just please people just agree that the old KP is back, man? Do you think that we are witnessing KP get back to that peak of that old KP we've seen in those previous mad cycles in the DMO?
Oh, of course, and we hit on it on Walk the Line when we talked about the Week 17 game. He's back, and he's here to stay. His offense is so balanced and dangerous. He's got 5 guys with over 5 touchdowns, and he almost has 3 receivers with close to 1,000 yards receiving. I mean, he just spreads the ball, and everybody wants to think it is Tyreek Hill, which it is. He has 70 catches, but he's got some other guys with 50, 42. He's not afraid to throw it to someone else. He's going to hit the open man. Patrick Mahomes is just slinging the ball. He's my Super Bowl pick. He was in the beginning of the season, and I think he's going to be crowned. He's going to hang a banner, and he's here to stay, and he's definitely going to be a dangerous person in the AFC come high stakes.
All right, so I'm going to come to you next on this one. I'm going to come to you next expert on this one right here. Now, KP showed this off season, the last off season, how important it is to bring guys in, go after guys that you want during free agency during the draft, and locking guys into your system and getting top production out of them. Do you think by him bringing in Darius Geis elevated this Kansas City Chiefs offense? Because now it made them a double-edged sword, because you got to fear the passing game and also you got to fear the running game? Or
yeah, I don't know if we fear this running game as much as KP would like us to. Mm-hmm. I will say this: when your quarterback throws for 4,200 yards, you have 3 guys that are right at the 1,000 yards. You got 1 guy over 1,500, 1,100, and then almost 900. And kind of like Jay was talking about, he spreads this ball around. Just about every wide receiver on this roster has 10 catches. And here's the thing. That's the smoke, though. Y'all know that, right? Like, let's really talk about the real KP. This is the real KP right here. The smoke is this offense. And he's going to keep fooling y'all to think that the offense is what's key. It's not. It's the other side of the football. KP and the guys that have been in the dynasty a long time, the true OGs of this league will know this guy is a defensive mastermind. And he has proven this year, his offense has been great this whole cycle. He has played well on offense pretty much every year. But his defense is finally matching that offense that he has over there. And when KP is making you turn the ball over, when he's holding you to under 15 points a game, you cannot beat this guy. And he proves it time and time again. This is the reason this man has multiple banners hanging in the ceiling. I need everybody in the DML, stop worrying about this offense. You have to find a way to beat this defense. The offense is going to do his thing. KP is going to get points on offense. He's going to find a seam here, a spot there. He's going to get his offensive numbers. You got to find a way to get past this defense. And I don't see a spot on this defense where you say, okay, this is the weakness, because you're talking about at linebacker, he's got guys with double-digit interceptions. He's got multiple guys, 3 guys with double-digit sacks on this defensive line. You have to find a way to get past this defense and put up 25, 30 points. If you don't, and Bruce, I hope you're listening, if you don't find a way to put up 25, 30 points in this AFC Championship game, this game is over before Justin Timberlake sings at halftime. It's done. It's a wrap. And there's nothing you can do about it. Because if this defense holds you to 10 or less points in the first half, you're not catching him. It's just how it is. So Bruce has to find a way. Now, Bruce is very good about game planning. And so he has to find a game plan to beat the Chiefs. Because if you don't score on this offense, it's over. And the Chiefs are going to go into the Super Bowl, and they're going to face Matty Ice or Sweets 99. And speaking of that, where is Sweets 99 on this list? I was sitting here thinking, how do 49ers not make this list?
That's just the
we can talk about that. We can talk about it after KP. We can talk about it after KP, but I think that's highly disrespectful not to put the 49ers on this list. And so I'd love to hear your opinion on that, the OG, because you made the list. So Sweets 99, on behalf of Expert and all of the Jacksonville Jaguar front office, we'd like to say right there in between Tight Work and Addy 5 should be a picture of the 49ers and the greatness that you have shown throughout the cycle. But going back to KP, I'm with Jay. Nasty Noop, go ahead and get the Photoshop ready. KP and the Chiefs hang another banner, and I don't think he has a tough game left.
No, I'm at the bring my co-host Jay to the spotlight on this one, man. Like you mentioned, like, from the guys that have been around, watching KP play from cycle after cycle after cycle, we all understand that KP is a defensive mind user. That's why when you made that trade, sending him a 91 speed middle linebacker with a 92 acceleration, the DML was like, why? Even though with a guy like Griffin and a lot of guys other systems, he won't excel. We talking about KP, who had a middle linebacker, and I believe what was that Expert Madden 17 cycle. What was his name? Span? What was the linebacker name?
Span. Yeah.
Span. This dude was just like what Griffin is, but 10 times better. So that's why when everybody was like, "Whoa, why did you make this move?" You're starting to see why now.
I got a problem with trading speed, don't I? I think I need to look into that.
He gave Bass up.
I think I need to look into that a little better for next cycle.
Yeah, but everybody know, man. It's not. I told people when I played him, man. Listen, there's a different KP from when I played him in the beginning of the cycle to now. He got the pieces that he wants. He got the guys that fit his scheme, and I'm telling you, man, DML is going to be a long rest of this cycle with these Kansas City Chiefs, man, because they're right now, they're not even scratching the surface right now, in my opinion. I'm telling you that right now. They're not even scratching the surface. But he came in at the number 1 spot. But that's timing on why Chiefs 99 didn't make the list. And my opinion, the 49ers, They just seem like, when they come get in the postseason, he had a Super Bowl run last year. Don't get me wrong, he did his thing. When it comes to the regular season, like I said on Walk the Line, he puts the best team that he can put together for that season, and they come out and they compete. But this season, I just didn't see that level of competitiveness out there in San Francisco. I didn't see it. He didn't win his division. He barely made the playoffs due to a weak conference, in my opinion, with guys who have a losing record. Because if you put his record over there in the AFC, he doesn't make the playoffs. So in my opinion, I just didn't see the level of competitiveness that I've seen from previous weeks up to this point. Now, he made it to the NFC Championship, by the hair on his chin, because he was against those New Orleans Saints, who they have neck-to-neck battles every postseason, but I just didn't see the Sweets 99 that I'm used to seeing in previous seasons. That's why I don't think that he made his list. But anybody in the postseason could have made his list. The Jags could have made the list.
Jags couldn't have made this list.
The Seahawks could have made the list.
Here's the thing, though. When you lose a Super Bowl and you lose back-to-back Super Bowls, it's difficult for you to get pumped back up to have to have that same run that you had when you get beat by Addy 5, and then you finally get over the hump and beat Addy 5. Okay, then you play Tight Work, who Tight Work and Sweets have played each other so many times, they know each other very well. And so Sweets felt like that was his Super Bowl. He should have won that Super Bowl. And It was a good Super Bowl, but he came up short again. So you lose back-to-back Super Bowls. That takes a lot out of your sails. And instead of missing the playoffs, which he very easily could have done, he gets in the playoffs. Now, once he gets in the playoffs, Sweets 99 turned the switch back on. It's on. Mm-hmm. He is now beaten Addy 5 twice in the playoffs. And with Addy 5, even with losing those players, he's still difficult. He's still, to me, him and KP are 1 and 1A in the DML. And he took down 1. So, to me, Sweets got to make this list. And that's just my personal opinion. I'm not putting Andy Force on this list before Sweets. I'm not putting Bruce on this list before Sweets. And I'm actually putting Sweets above Tight Work. So I think with the way Sweets has played over the past 3 seasons, in the position that he's in right now, playing in another NFC championship game, his 3rd or 4th in a row, this is a guy has proven he belongs on the road to greatness. And so I just want to make sure, because, it's one of those things, OG, when the show comes out in the DML, I don't know if y'all do this, but I do this. I always fast forward through the show first. Like, okay, where did they talk about expert? Because I got to see what they got to say about me. Sweets is going to load this show up, and he's going to go through this show, and he's going to be like, these MFers didn't put me on this list? Are you serious? This show needs to come out before the NFC Championship game, because this is going to light a fire under Sweets that he's not on this list. And he's a humble guy. But Sweets, it's okay. Hit your boy Expert DM and let me know how pissed off you were that you weren't on the road to greatness.
So what if
you should have been on this list?
So what if he makes it to the Super Bowl but falls short again?
Okay, for all those people out there that say that would be a choke by Sweets 99.
No, it's not a choke. No.
I want everybody that has a problem with a guy going to 3 Super Bowls in a row and losing. I want you to let me know how many banners you got hanging in the ceiling and how many Super Bowls you've played in, because while we have all levels of talent in the DML, when you play the top guys, and I'm talking the top 25%, the Addy 5s all the way to the OG Chris Murrays, to the SJs, to Tight Work. When you play those guys and you beat those guys and find a way to make it to the Super Bowl and be one of the last 2 guys standing, you are I don't care what nobody says. And he's done it consistently, and he's done it against some of the best competition over there in the NFC, and he just hasn't found a way to put it all together and win a banner. Listen, I didn't win my first one. I didn't win my second one. But it just finally came together for me when I finally won a banner, and it worked out for me. And sometime, at one point, it's going to work out for Sweets. He's going to hang a banner, and we're going to celebrate. Matter of fact, Sweets, when you win a Super Bowl, Jacksonville putting on a parade for you in Jacksonville for the 49ers. unless you play us and beat us in the Super Bowl, then we'll cancel that parade. But Sweets should have been on this list. Shout out to the homie Sweets 99.
He did his thing. So we gonna go to Super Bowl predictions, man. We gonna go to Super Bowl predictions, because I know everybody want to get one next.
T-Pain over Marizzi in the Super Bowl. Oh wait, them 2 guys didn't make.
All right, we're gonna come to you, Mr. Melt the Mic first. All right, we got the Ravens, Bruce and the Ravens versus KP and the Chiefs in the AFC Championship. And we got Chiefs 9-9 and those San Francisco 49ers versus Matty Ice and the Philadelphia Eagles. Who you got, man, making a run to the Super Bowl, and who are you taking to win it all?
I'm gonna tell you straight up exactly how I feel about it. I think KP for them on it straight up.
Straight up, KP? Okay, that's one
for the win.
KP gonna win.
We're gonna go to you, Mr. Please, Freddie Jackson, don't say nothing crazy, man. But all right, who you got winning the Super Bowl, man?
Woo, it's gonna be a good one. First, I got Eagles, and I got the Eagles going. I got KP going. It's gonna be a good one. These guys are ball hawkers, and like you said about KP, you look at Shaquille Griffin with 14 interceptions. Man, you look at Fletcher Cox, the best D to tackle in the game right now. If he can find a way to put pressure on KP, he can beat him. I'm gonna flip a coin. I got the Eagles going. I got the Eagles taking it all.
Woo! Wait. You can't steal my pick, man. Dang, I thought I was gonna be the one.
You're supposed to pick the Eagles.
I'm going Eagles. And now, because these are you, I mean, the guy can use, he can roam, but we might be looking at a 42-41 game. we might see 8 quarters. We might see 8 quarters of play.
This thing right here, man. I'm going with Matty Ice on this one. The reason why I'm going with Matty Ice is flat out. I'm gonna tell you why, man. His kryptonite is gone. You know, his kryptonite is gone. Eddie is out. He has beaten the San Francisco 49ers. He has beaten KP before. Only person I don't think that he played yet was the Baltimore Ravens and Bruce. But he has the formula to beating KP. He played them and he beat him before. Not this cycle, but he has played KP in previous cycles. So even though the game Madden do change, guys tend to stick with their habits or what they like to do. And he has beaten Sweet 99 on those 49ers. In my opinion, this is Matty Ice year. The Eagles have to lock it in this year. He has the weapons. He has the quarterback. He has the defense. He has the stick skills. He's focused, so there's no more excuses. I got the Philadelphia Eagles hanging their first banner in the DML. Come on, man. They bring it on for them birds, baby. Expert, who you got, man?
All right, so I think the AFC Championship is a wash. I think KP just, annihilates the Ravens. And as much as I love Bruce, I love Bruce. I love his game and how he plays. But the path that KP is on, he's unbeatable right now. It's going to take a big game from the Ravens to beat him. I'm not saying that it's 100% sure, but it's 99.9% that KP wins the AFC. Now the NFC is going to be a little different because these two guys have played already. And it was a very close game. It was a defensive game, and Matty Ice came out and beat the 49ers at home. And he's going to get another home game. Here's the thing, though. Sweets 99 has flipped a switch here in the playoffs. And he has won 2 games already against 2 very good users. He is going to find a way to beat Matty Ice. It's going to be a very close one. Sweets kicks a field goal at the end of the game to win, and he faces KP. Now, the bad part is that Sweets 99 is going to lose his 3rd Super Bowl in a row because KP is destined for this championship. And as much as I hate seeing someone else hang a banner, my brother already hung 3 with the Saints at 85. This is another one of my brothers that we've been around a long time together, and I couldn't ask for a better guy to win another banner. KP and those Chiefs, and it's going to be an easy Super Bowl win for him.
Woo! Jay, who you taking?
Yeah. I mean, I'm with the expert as well. I think the 49ers go to the Super Bowl, and then he comes up short against KP, and KP gets his banner. And I think the reason why 49ers has come short is because he's been struggling with Josh Allen all season. I think he really misses Garoppolo. Now, I say struggling, the dude's in the NFC Championship, but he really has. I talked to him on the daily about Josh Rosen, and Josh Rosen isn't what he expected. And I know don't be shocked if there's a new quarterback in San Francisco next year, but I think it's going to be not as high-scoring game as you think. I think 34-28, Kansas City Chiefs.
Dang, so we got 3 Chiefs, 2 Eagles. Come on, man, bring it home, man. That's our Road to Greatness list. Some of us agree, some of us disagreed on who should be on the list. But that's just the level of competition in the DML, man. This is what makes this league great. I appreciate all y'all guys for jumping on the show, man, taking your time out of the day to come kick it with me on the live air, man. I'm your host, OG Chris Murray. We out.